Good evening, folks, and happy Easter for all of those of you who celebrate it. To those of you who don't celebrate it, I don't know what to tell you. Anyway, this is the Factivist Report for Sunday, the 17th of April, and we're going to continue on our merry way talking about right-wing bullshit. That's the best way we can say it. And then at the end of this, I'm going to give you a quick update on the website. So without further ado, I will turn this over to Dave.
Hello, and happy Easter, or Easter Festivus, or whatever you want to call it, if you're not practicing. And here is where I'm going with this. I wanted to start, I started the research that I did with the Don't Say Gay bills and all of that. Then I expanded it a little bit with the idea of parental rights, and I also did a little bit of CRT and transgender, because I saw that a lot of these bills had those elements in it. I did not get into any of the stuff with the abortion bills yet, because that just wasn't really in this particular portion of it. So a couple of things that I have noticed. This idea that these ideas are new, they are not new. A lot of this has been going on for many, many years, and there have been hateful people for decades. Deb can tell you a little bit about Anita Bryant and her sucking on oranges and getting hit in the face with a pie and being just a loathsome horror of a human being. But I have those as well. And I also have a new right-wing person to introduce you to. His name is Christopher Russo. Lot of what Rufo, I keep doing that. Christopher Russo, Mad Dog, I apologize to you. You're fine. He's a sportscaster. I keep on doing that. So Christopher Rufo, R-U-F-O. And we'll get he is generating a lot of messages out there, including but not limited to CRT is bad and indoctrinating your children, and teachers are grooming kids to be gay and blah, blah, blah. So let's start this thing out with one understanding right from the beginning. This is from the United States Government Accountability Office. This is an old report, but this is continuing. This is a report on child welfare and how federal agencies can better support state efforts to prevent and respond to sexual abuse by school personnel. So the government is aware of and telling you right out that this does happen, but they're trying to fix the problem as best as they can, because they are tasked with protecting their students, or the school districts are tasked with protecting their students. So this is just the start of the report. It gets into how the education personnel, the teachers, the administrators, it's their job, and it's also their job to report potential danger. So, I wanted to get that right out there right off the bat. The next, I know we've talked about the Supreme Court nomination at length. However, there's a poll out there from the USA Today. Okay, John Fritz and Chelsea Cox did this like a little while ago, a few days ago. Wasn't this past Friday, but the Friday before. Most Americans see politics over substance in the Supreme Court confirmation process. Absolutely true.
No shit.
However, coming from the right wing.
Right.
Okay. So, and
because why? I'm just going to say it flat out. The fucking right wing doesn't have any substance. They haven't got any policy to focus on. They don't govern. They simply demonize and react. That's the whole shtick around the Republican Party.
The Republican Party has had a message for decades. They are protecting you from bad people, whether it be, and I know Hillary Clinton used the word super predators, from immigrants or, thug black people or, gays trying to indoctrinate you or assault you as a child. They're protecting you from these people. However, isn't that the parents' job? They have this whole thing about parental rights and allowing parents to do their job, and then they want to protect you from people that you don't feel like you need protecting from. Just so you know. Marsha Blackburn was a huge part of this whole thing, and I'll talk about Marsha Blackburn in a minute. It's just that whole, what is a woman? They're creating enemies that aren't there. Okay.
Look,
and again,
those questions, those are loaded questions.
Yep.
Those have nothing to do with whether or not Ketanji Brown Jackson is qualified for the Supreme Court. What they're doing is they're trying to position her, force her to take a stand on a transgender issue that isn't an issue, okay? Because as the court will tell you, you are not bound to rule on anything unless you have a case in front of you. And every case is individual. And it's a nonsense question. It's to make her look bad. It's to make her look bad. That's the only possible reason you would ask a question like that.
Right. So Ms. Blackburn portrayed as excessive the progressive push for transgender rights, decrying a recent victory at the NCAA swimming championships by Leah Thomas, by the way. Thomas, right? Yeah. A transgender female athlete. By the way, I believe that athlete participated in 6, maybe 8 competitions and won one of them. She also declared that educators are allowing biological males to steal opportunities from female athletes in the name of progressivism. In other words, Marsha Blackburn is making a legal argument in this person's confirmation hearing. And Ketanji Brown Jackson did not take the bait. When asked, what is a woman, Ketanji Brown Jackson said, I am not a biologist. I don't think she said I'm not a gender studies person, but she said, I'm not going to get into that until a case is put before me. What Deb said. So.
By the way, Marsha Blackburn doesn't even know what states border her fucking state, so she needs to really shut the fuck up. She can't even do basic geography.
They were gonna build a wall around Marsha Blackburn as she was making the question.
Yeah, I wish they would actually put a cover on top of it while they're at it.
Blackburn suggested Jackson would trample parental rights.
Here we go.
Saying that Judge Jackson is on the board of a school that tells kindergartners they can choose their gender and teaches them about so-called white privilege.
That's bullshit.
The school, the senator said, pushes an anti-racist education program for white families. Now, look, again, if you want, from 2 weeks ago, we did a whole bit on this. So there were Democrats who declined Robert Bork's nomination. because of his ideologies. However, his ideologies were so far out of whack that they were justified in doing so.
Look, he was not even, he honestly, I'm going to be honest with you. He shouldn't have even been nominated for the position. Never in a million years, okay? I mean, I don't like, you know, the majority of the people on the Supreme Court right now, but Robert Bork should never have been nominated.
I mean, this guy, if you want to look at Robert Bork, take a look at our presentation from a couple of weeks ago. But there is this whole game now where the Republicans will deny any Democrat a vote. You know, there were 3 people who voted for Ketanji Brown Jackson from the Republican side. And kudos to them because they did the right thing.
Yeah, now
because she was qualified.
They're all targets.
Yep.
You know?
But this whole, again, political rights, parental rights, all of this stuff is now a political hot point for the right.
Because it's election time.
Just bringing this up because I want people to understand how far back this goes. This is in the 1970s. We have Renee Richards, who was formerly a male tennis player, transitioned and then tried to compete. A lot of people pulled out. She was asked to take hormone tests, which she declined to do. She said, I shouldn't have to do that. That's a violation of my rights. Took it to court. She was granted the right to compete. This is different because this person is a professional. And people were claiming that this person was unfairly competing with them, and there was money involved. There was something concrete. So, and guess what? She still won. This person, Renee Richards, said that if she would have won Wimbledon and she was that good, if she had won Wimbledon, she would have retired and left the sport because it wouldn't have been good for her, the sport, or transgenders.
And that's why? Because nobody could fucking handle it. That's why.
Right. But this was in the 1970s. So this has been going on for forever.
Right. So let's just stop for 1 second here and take a look at this, okay?
Yep.
That was the 1970s. We are now in what? 2022, right?
2022.
Are we overrun with transgender people in sports? Are we overrun with transgender people on school sports? Are we overrun? We've taken over. Have we done the great female replacement yet? We haven't, because you know what? That's all fucking crap. Okay, it's crap.
You've had
transgender
maybe a few more
forever. Okay.
Yep.
You've had gay people forever. Okay.
This is from last year, USA Today. Larry Strauss is an opinion columnist. In real life, transgender girls in sports are a non-controversy. Does this shock me? No, it doesn't.
Nope.
And what is the adverse effect that these kids would have by losing to a transgender person? Feeling bad that they lost?
Well,
most of these people are not going
right?
to. Yeah.
So look, let me just say this, right? Here's where we would really benefit as a nation. All right. If we could just keep the fucking government out of the situation. You know, let the sports people deal with this. Let the college sports. Why do they have college sports boards? Why do they have these people in place? They have people in place so that they can deal with shit. The students can deal with it. The college and high school, you know, sports people can deal with this. There is absolutely no fucking need for the government to do what they're doing here. All right. This is a mess because they've decided to politicize an issue. And that's all this is.
I saw a couple of clips of Leah Thomas.
Yep.
No one should boo somebody for being who they are. Nobody. That's fucking ridiculous.
We live in Uglyville. I'm sorry, but we really do.
So here we go.
I mean, I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. I by choice stay away from most people now because I can't.
Speaking of someone that you would like to stay away from.
Yeah, except that this guy needs to be exposed.
Yes, he does. Christopher, it's that freaking fancy F. That's why I keep on saying Rufo. He created the term critical race theory because it sounded more controversial. So
just so you know that the Republicans and the conservatives, just like the Democrats and the liberals, use people like this. All right, it's not just one side.
Now, this is an article by Benjamin Wallace Wells from last year, June 18, 2021. And the New Yorker is not a progressive paper.
They're pretty much down the middle.
Yeah. Yeah. So, this guy works for the Heritage Foundation. He has his own think tank.
That's all you need to know.
I'm just saying. We're gonna get into a little bit of this, but he ran for office in Seattle and lost. He considered himself at one point not really conservative, but he's kind of pulled, I guess, what's her name? What was that lady's name who was supposedly what's her name?
What's her name?
The black lady from New York.
Am I supposed to know that?
Yeah. Yes. You like slam on her all the time. What the hell's her name?
Oh, Candace Owen.
Candace Owen, thank you. Jeez. It's the Easter bread, everybody.
Daily Wire. Just say the asshole from the Daily Wire. Then I'd know who you were talking about.
Ben Shapiro.
That's all you have to say.
So when Rufo received the anti-bias documents from the city of Seattle, he knew how to spot political kindling. These days, I'm a brawler, Rufo told me cheerfully. Yeah, good for you. So this guy did some FOIA requests. He turned up some slideshows and curricula for the Seattle anti-racism seminars. And under the auspices of the city's Office for Civil Rights, employees across many departments were being divided up by race for implicit bias training. Welcome internalized racial superiority for white people, read one introductory slide over an image of Seattle skyline. What do we do in white people's space? Read a second slide. So I'm just saying that when you read stuff like this, you have to look at the entire damn, the entire presentation. This guy is saying that under the banner of anti-racism, Seattle's Office of Civil Rights is now explicitly endorsing principles of group-based guilt and race essentialism.
Oh, stop it. Oh, the poor little fucking white snowflakes.
Right.
Who's the snowflake now?
So, all right. Inquiries into the footnotes and citations and the documents he'd been sent formed the basis for the idea that has organized cultural politics this spring. by the way, this is a PowerPoint presentation to adults. This isn't this isn't middle school.
Right.
Organized cultural politics this spring at the anti-racism seminars did not just represent a progressive view on race, but that they were expressions of a distinct ideology, critical race theory, if you will, with radical roots.
Unbelievable.
If people were upset about the seminars, Rufo wanted them also to notice critical race theory operating behind the curtain. So you get the idea. Yep. This guy did a FOIA request, got some PowerPoint presentations, and from a PowerPoint presentation, he said the entire country is blah blah blah, and kids are being indoctrinated, and et cetera, et cetera.
Taught that in grammar school. It's ridiculous. It's really ridiculous.
Right. It's
a non-issue, but it's politics time. It's time for I'm telling you, this shit goes on all the time during election season. Okay. And this is because they have no policies to run on, but ideology. That's their governing. Their method, the right wing's method of governing is ideology. It's driven by ideology. It's not driven by fact or need or what the people in the country need or what benefits the people. It's based on pandering to people who give them money and vote for them. It's as simple as that.
Yep. Now, this is how you create a term and create a message in modern America. Last summer, Rufo published several more pieces for the City Journal, and then he appeared on Tucker Carlson Tonight. Rufo had prepared a 3-minute monologue to be uploaded to a teleprompter at a Seattle studio, and he practiced carefully enough that when the teleprompter wasn't available, he still remembered what to say. On air, set against the deep blue background of Fox News, he told Carlson, it's absolutely astonishing how, and he said it really slow, critical race theory.
It isn't a theory, by the way. It's American history.
Yeah. He said those 3 words, slowly for emphasis, has pervaded every aspect of the federal government. So when I'm sure, Carlson had a moment, had a spasm or whatever, those 3 words started to get repeated over and over and over again, and now we're talking about it like it's a thing. So
well, now in Florida, they've rejected 41% of the math books because of the critical race theory factor. Math. Okay.
It's gone up to 57 books. Not the percentage, but yeah, I think it's 57 books they said. So yeah, here we go. Florida school targets school math books over critical race theory objections. Now I don't know if it's the word problems or something that they said in the text of the book or whatever. Come on. It's just amazing. So
pretty soon, we'll what'll have to happen. It'll have to be that Ron DeSantis will have to write the textbooks for them.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see if he knows his numbers.
This guy is so bad. He is so bad.
I know I've done this. I've done this clip before, so I'm just gonna put it up there. His father scares me, actually. I don't know why he was so upset, and the kids looking really scared too, actually.
Oh, they didn't want it's a vaccine mandate because we've only been doing that since 1977. So all of a sudden, that's a problem too, because we have what?
Right.
Here's another term for you: medical freedom. There's another made-up fucking problem.
So before I go into this whole thing, and I'm sure Deb will talk a little bit on it too. If we're going to talk about parental rights, you want to opt out of a program, I don't have any problem with that. I really don't. Opt your kid out of the program, that's fine. but you don't get to hold up an entire program because you don't agree with it for your child.
Look,
this goes both ways.
Look, it does. But let me just tell you what it is. This is what it is. Again, it's based on that notion that we need to teach children patriotism and to praise God. All right.
Yeah.
We can force that down other people's throats, though. You know, that's what Rick Scott's plan will do, his 11-point plan to save America. It will require your child to stand up for the national anthem. It will require your child to pray in school. Both of those, no matter what venue you are in, both of those are a violation of the United States Constitution. Both of those. All right. My kids never stood up for the national anthem. And you know what? If you want your kids to pray, you take them to fucking church, like my mother did, or you send them to Catholic school. But you do not force a public school to have prayer in the classroom every day, because not everybody prays to your God, even if they are religious. The government needs to stay the fuck out of this shit.
And also, this whole idea of, and I'll get to it in a little bit, and I know Deb's going to have something to say about this particular thing. Wholesome American values.
Yeah, really?
There are some bigots out there. There are some bigots against gay people, trans people, the whole thing. We go back to Anita Bryant, back in the 70s, talking about how gay people are white trash, how she'd rather have her child be dead than gay, or a homo. Sorry. Right. How far are we going with this?
As far as
we're going as far as they take it.
Yeah, we will go as far as the American people allow them to take it. They will take whatever rope you give them. They will take it all.
Right. I found this. This is called the Parental Rights Foundation. They're basically saying that the idea of parental rights has been around for a very long time. I have not seen people trying to take their rights away, in all honesty. They're talking about
they're trampling on other people's rights. So,
right.
So, you know what? Here's my thing. I think sex education should be taught in the school system. I don't have a problem with that, because I know most people at home are not sitting their children down and discussing sex with them. I know that. All right. I know it. So I really do believe that should be taught in the school system. If you do not want your child to have sex education, they can have an open period. They can opt out. They can have another class in that time frame. But you don't take something out of a curriculum just because the people who are Christians don't want to see it. You don't want to see it. Send your child to Catholic school or opt your kid out. But, to take the entire curriculum of the public school system and to turn it over into a fucking white man's nightmare to appease a bunch of freaking snowflakes, is in and of itself tramples on other people's rights. I don't want my kids growing up like that. I don't want my kids insulated like that. I want my kids to understand that there are different people on the planet. We all live together. We all accept each other for what we are. My kids don't even fucking see color. They see none of that. Okay. And that's because they were allowed to learn about those things. And if you don't understand it, the best thing you can do is talk to somebody who lives it, so you understand what they're living.
I want to read this real quick because I want people to understand too. Yes, you have a freedom to study and worship the way you like, worship your religion the way you like, but you also have freedom to from religion too.
Yep.
Freedom from being religious. You can be atheist if you want.
Yeah, you're damn straight you can.
Consider the following from John Locke's Second Treatise of Civil Government, first published in 1690. That's 97 years before the ratification of the U.S. Constitution. Thank you. Adam was created a perfect man, his body and mind in full possession of their strength and reason, and so was capable from the first instance of his being to provide for his own support and preservation and govern his action according to the dictates of the law of reason which God had implanted in him. Mm-hmm. Do I have to continue?
No, please don't. Stop it, okay? Really. That's okay if you're a believer.
Right. But this obviously, the Parental Rights Foundation is a Christian-based organization.
Of course it is.
Now, they're quoting a couple of court cases. No, I haven't looked at the court cases yet. But please tell me where these parental rights are not being honored. And are we talking about the vaccines, or are we talking about the masking, where public health is involved?
It's called public health.
Or are we talking about?
It's called public health, and it's been around for a very fucking long time. So shut up.
So let's go to Texas, where Abbott is protecting parents' rights. He introduces new parental Bill of Rights. And remember, schools are tasked with protecting kids, but Governor Abbott wants parents to have that more than have it be in the curriculum, which is why, stop scrolling. There we go. Texas Governor Abbott on Friday, and I think this was a couple weeks ago, maybe. This is this was last year. This is June of 2021. Okay. Oh yeah. All right. So this is he vetoed a bill that would require schools to teach children about family and dating violence and child abuse. Why on earth would you want that? The bill, named the Christine Bluebog Act, in honor of a 16-year-old who was killed by her ex-boyfriend, would have provided students with instruction on how to identify signs of abuse and how to report it.
Actually,
lessons surrounding
what Governor Abbott is doing is protecting the families, since the majority of abuse comes from the family. Honestly. Right.
And not necessarily parents, but a lot of them are related, uncles or whatever. Lessons surrounding those topics would be mandated at least once in middle school curriculum and twice at the high school level. The San Antonio Express News notes. The legislation was approved by bipartisan votes in the Texas House and Senate before being sent to the governor. Basically, what he said was that because there wasn't an opt-out clause, which can be added, he voted against it. So you're going to have potentially hundreds of kids not being informed about how to protect themselves from an abusive boyfriend, girlfriend, or family member.
And by the way, kids who are maybe not so much kids in high school, but kids who are in grammar school, you know what? It's hard for them to identify abuse from parents or family members, because those are people they're taught to trust. So to think that we don't need to make kids understand what abuse looks like, no matter who is doing it, that's absolutely ridiculous. Again, I find this stuff to be ridiculous. This is not like this hasn't been around. It has been around. We're just making it an issue now.
For many decades, when I was a kid, I'm sure when Deb was a kid, we were told, don't talk to strangers. Well, these people aren't strangers.
Right.
Okay, so what do we do when we don't feel comfortable around someone we know?
Right. Or someone you trust. Why would they be doing
someone
that
you trust?
Why would they be doing that to you? Okay.
And what do kids do? They internalize it. They're like, well, what am I doing wrong?
Right.
You know?
You know, again, it goes back to the old claim from the right that they care about the kids. They don't give a shit about the kids. They absolutely do not give a shit about the kids.
One thing I want to bring up in the middle of this thing is the idea of lawsuits. Yes, sometimes lawsuits are necessary, and lawsuits against school districts can prove costly against those against those school districts. Deb and I have had a theory for a long time that some of this is potentially designed to crash the entire system through lawsuits.
Yep.
Because there's just a lot going on right now. This particular article was from 2007. Okay, so this has been going on for a very long time, but different issues are now ramping up, like the transgender, athlete stuff and CRT and all of this. So let's see here. So the next one, when it prompts, is going to talk about specifically the nature of some of these lawsuits that actually have happened. And a lot of these lawsuits involve someone who was physically hurt or killed, shot, sexually assaulted, or maybe potentially even hurt off of school grounds, but the administration or teachers knew about it and didn't report it.
Right.
This, this harassment or abuse or threats or whatever. So I have to wait because this thing is not. It's freezing up on me now. So to what extent are districts and schools liable for student safety? And remember, they are responsible for keeping these kids
safe.
While
they're there. They are, absolutely.
So here's one, two students at Westmoreland injured in a school in a shooting. One shot twice in the stomach, targeted by the shooter, a former student known to threaten and harass his peers. This is a claim that this was known and it wasn't reported.
Right.
This is a Newton board. This is Newton, the Sandy Hook stuff. Sexual misconduct. So this was a student with special needs. She was a 9th grader. Apparently, she was friends with a 12th grader who assaulted her off of school grounds. But again, there were concerns and it wasn't reported. So, two Tennessee parents sued a board of education in Wayne County after their sons were allegedly sexually assaulted and harassed by boys on their middle school basketball team. So the victims, both 7th graders, allegedly faced sexual harassment from 8th grade teammates, and these incidents later escalated to sexual assault. And in my research, I have found that a large number of these sexual assaults do occur within classmates, but older classmates. I believe it's about almost a third of them.
And it's all about power.
It's all about power. Yep. By the way, it's not about, sexual identity or any of that stuff. It's about power.
Yep.
So, So one more. And this goes into social media. And this is MySpace. This is how far back it goes. December 2005, a West Virginia high school student created a MySpace page mainly to ridicule another student, according to legal documents. About 24 peers joined the page, and some accessed it from school computers. When the victim and her parents filed a harassment complaint with the school, the site's creator was suspended for 5 days for the so-called hate website, which violated school bullying, harassment, and intimidation policies. She sued, claiming her First Amendment rights were violated because her site was private and created outside of school. So, right-winger in the process. So, this goes into the whole cyberbullying thing. This was 2005. So until 2018, some states, including New Jersey, had still not seen a case of this nature. As a result, there's still room for precedent. Now, here's the thing. There's also room to teach kids how to protect themselves from cyberbullying and cyber harassment.
Right.
And one reality, too, is that I'm seeing more and more adults and some in politics doxing others.
Right.
Kids notice. So. More than a dozen states are proposing so-called "Don't Say Gay" bills. Now, these are also tacking on the issues that I'm talking about: CRT, transgender athletes, all this stuff. They're kind of stuffing it all into one thing, and they're creating
American Legislative Exchange Council.
Yep.
They're all ALEC bills.
ALEC.
This is.
Yep. And they're stuffing it into the "Don't Say Gay" stuff.
Yep. This
is a parental rights issue. This is what it's becoming. Now, just realize that this has been going on for a very long time. One of Deb's favorite people of all time, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
Deb's baking a pie for her right now. Anita Bryant.
Nasty.
She is a vile human being.
I remember going to the Gay Pride Parade in Boston.
Yep.
With a sign that read, "Anita Bryant sucks oranges," because her theme song was "Come to the Florida Sunshine Tree." She was a spokeswoman for what? Minute Maid? Was it Minute Maid?
Yeah, it was for some orange juice brand.
Yeah, it was Florida oranges, whatever it was. That was her big shtick.
Yep. She was also Miss Oklahoma. I don't remember what year. You know, she was a devout Christian who hated, she despised gays. What she called homos. Yep. She said that she'd rather have her child dead than have her child be a homo.
Yep. She's a real sweetheart.
Yeah.
Maybe they should have a class in school about having a mother like that.
Oh, we'll get there, actually. But the other thing that she said is that she had no problem with teachers being gay as long as they didn't divulge it and they weren't open about it. But if they were open about it, they were human garbage and they shouldn't. Yeah. It's like, and she also said that I don't know if she started the whole thing, but she did perpetuate the idea that gays were pedophiles.
I think she probably had a hand in that.
Yeah. So she was originally from Oklahoma. She was Miss Oklahoma, but she became a staple in Florida. So action had to be taken in a campaign to limit the legal rights of LGBTQ people, all in the name of protecting children, was enacted. So a woman who spoke at this hearing said it was her right to control the moral atmosphere in which my children grow up. So, again, she didn't care if you were gay. You just couldn't be open about it and teach her kids.
Right. Usually stay in the closet. Yeah, that's right.
More, yep.
She was vile. She was just a vile. I don't know how anybody could see her as a Miss Anything. She was a nasty bitch. That's all I'm going to say.
And what I will say as I go on throughout this, a lot of these right-wingers are going back to the well, going back to the Anita Bryant well.
Yep, they are. They are. And by the way,
this is
never let it be understated how big the Christian right is pushing the current iteration of the Republican Party.
Right. So this is actually, I found this. This is from 1977. I believe it's June of 1977 by Gene O'Leary and Bruce Voller. This is Anita Bryant herself said it even more clearly on a recent network television show. We're not going after their, gays' jobs as long as they do their jobs and do not want to come out of the closet. Gay men and women in this country have been required to join a conspiracy to pretend we don't exist so that other people can lie to children. I think that's pretty, and where are we? You're kind of doing it in reverse now. Now kids feel like they can't talk about it in school and try to figure it out and how to cope.
Did you read the first part of that thing?
Which
they said in their ad? Did you read that part?
Oh, this
right at the beginning. Homosexuals, the Save Our Children folks said in a recent full-page ad in the Miami Herald, used to be stoned to death. No doubt.
But nowadays,
get back to that. Yeah.
But nowadays, they said there's developed an attitude of tolerance based on the understanding that homosexuals will keep their deviant activity to themselves and not flaunt their lifestyles, will not be allowed to preach their sexual standards to or otherwise influence impressionable young people. Right. Again,
we'll leave that to the straight adults.
Grooming.
We'll leave that to the straight adults to groom impressionable young people to be bigots.
Right.
That's what we're doing.
And we'll get into kind of the difference of grooming and indoctrination. I think people get those two confused. But yeah, grooming, you're not grooming kids with the damn curriculum. You're not.
That's not where it happens.
What's wrong with teaching kids to accept themselves and accept other people for who they are? So more, this is just karma is a bigger bitch than Anita Bryant. Will infamous anti-gay Anita Bryant attend lesbian grandchild's wedding? Now, first off, if I was that grandchild, if I was that granddaughter, I wouldn't want her there. I wouldn't. I just wouldn't. By being a bigot and a hateful human being, you are limiting your human experience.
The thing that I want to impress upon people, I can tell you this.
Yeah.
Nobody in their right mind would choose to be gay. It isn't a choice. It's an orientation. All right. It is no longer called sexual preference. It's called sexual orientation for a reason. If you think anyone would ever choose this, to have to listen to this overt bullshit and bigotry and to go through the shit that I have heard over my lifetime, you're absolutely wrong. I would never elect to do this in this country, ever. No, nope.
Right.
It has not been a choice for a long time. You cannot teach a child to be gay. You cannot force a child to be gay. That doesn't work that way, and you can't incentivize them to be gay, okay? They either are or they're not. But by denying them the right to be who they are, you are causing them extreme damage. And I promise you, this is why there are suicides.
Right.
What I will say about, I have some experience with it. What I will say about being as a kid, I wasn't being groomed. I was being taught to deal with taught about the abuse and trying to learn how to deal with it, and taught that there wasn't much I could do about it and how I would cope, which is what Deb's just saying. Some kids cope by committing suicide.
Yep.
Which is why, by the way, again, schools attempt to help these kids cope in healthy ways.
I don't know what state it's in. There's a bill now that just passed. Is it Alabama or is it Kay Ivey state again? Where if
I believe it's
Alabama, yeah.
Where a student comes out as transgender, the school is required to call the parents immediately and out them.
I believe that's Alabama.
That could be the worst possible thing. That could be the worst possible thing.
Because they see these right-wing parents, these religious people have been indoctrinated to believe that gay is the enemy, that, there's gay people after their children. They don't understand gender and identity, and they don't value gay people in society as a whole. They want to make sure that they can indoctrinate their child and indoctrinate out the gay out of them.
Right.
From the start, and it doesn't work like that. You can indoctrinate someone and brainwash them and mentally abuse them enough where they go back into the closet.
Right.
But, that's just, to me, that's child abuse.
It is child abuse.
Taking your kid to church to have them, repent or whatever, so they can, make you ungay. That doesn't work like that, but you can brainwash someone to believe that.
Yep.
Right.
And they're basically, these bills and stuff, they're mandating that people don't legitimize their gay children. They want to out them. That's the most abusive thing I've ever heard. Because they may not be safe at home.
That's right.
They may not be safe from these parents.
Right.
And if, it's just it's a real fucking shame.
There is a song out there, If I Was a Boy. So if a girl sings that in Alabama, does that mean that someone's going to have to report to the parent that they think that the kid is whatever, gay or transgender?
I think that the teacher should just ignore it. I don't think they should abide by that. I think if there's a law that says you should endanger the children, then you should just break that law. I'm sorry, but
right. So this is just a story from Slate, kind of repeating what I've been saying, that the GOP and the right wing are going back to the well.
They're going back to the well. Guess who their advisor is?
Trump.
Newt Gingrich.
Oh, Newt, yeah.
The whole moral majority and all of that bullshit back in 93, 92, 94. That was all. This is all what goes around comes around.
Senator Cruz once again waved the flag of critical race theory, awkwardly making connections to critical legal studies whose professors said he said were Marxist, and it said that Jackson was a Marxist.
Those are the new buzzwords: socialists and Marxists. Now that's the new hue and cry from the right wing. We're all Marxists and socialists. They don't even know what the fuck the word means.
So, all right. Conservatives are increasingly labeling LGBTQ Americans as groomers. And remember Christopher Rufo RUFO, he started that crap too, or he started to like really pump that up. So this is an article from him in the City Journal, talking about it is no conspiracy theory that kids are being groomed in the school to be gay. You can't be taught to be gay. You can be taught to deal with abuse. That's a completely different thing. And by the way, they're not linked. Sex acts are not gay acts. A man that's a power move. I mean, a large amount of these people are who abuse boys who are men are either older or they're men. So it's not a link to that. So let's see here. Oh, this is Christopher Rufo. So he is fomenting a school rape panic. The rights boy wonder finds a new cause.
This guy's bad shit.
Yep. He's a fervent critic of left-wing pedagogy's encroachment on workplace and schools. The strange logic of partnership has transmuted his role into something far more bizarre. He's now creating a panic about sexual abuse in public schools. Okay. Before we proceed further, it is worth noting that these sexual abuse panics used to be associated more with the left than the right. The very real horror of rape can be easily produce a hyperventilated sense of the crime scale and a corresponding hunt for perpetrators who turn out to be innocent. What I will say is that there's this idea now that kids are being groomed through the through curriculum, which is where this whole idea of don't say gay stuff came from. That if kids are taught this, they're going to be groomed to be gay. That's, first off, that's not true. And then second off, that's not even the definition of grooming. So this is an example of abuse in schools. And you would call it grooming. These are campus child predators who use social media outside of the school system to lure their kids. And also, this was one particular school. This is very rare, but they weren't using the school curriculum. They were using school events to meet with the kids. They were using online. They were, going outside of the classroom.
Right.
Just so you know. And this particular school did cover it up because they were scared shitless of lawsuits and repercussions and all of that, which, by the way, it makes it worse if you cover it up.
It does. Absolutely does. Look at the Catholic Church covered it up too. It's institutions sometimes do that.
Yeah.
And you know what? When they do that and they get caught, they need to be held accountable for that. That's just adding insult to injury. Right.
I have these two. This is the actual bills for Don't Say Gay and don't in Alabama and in Florida. I'm not going to go over them in depth because I gave them to you. But what I will say is that all of this stuff is what they're talking about. These are the talking points. When you look at the Florida bill, it looks like a quote unquote normal bill, but it's not, because all of this stuff that we're talking about, we have all of this history. We have Anita Bryant, we have we have DeSantis, we have all of this, garbage associated with it, and all of this anti-gay, anti-black, anti-immigrant messaging tied to all of it. Okay, and these bills are getting more and more rabid and have more and more in them as this goes along.
Yep.
So I'm going to show you this again. I know Deb and I are planning on in a couple of weeks talking with a teacher, and I want to show this to them and see what they think about it. Personally, I don't have a problem with it.
Yep.
Again, you have several endorsing organizations that I know are legitimate: the Human Rights Campaign, Shape America, NACCHO or NACHO. I know those guys. Background and Vision, okay? I'm just going to read this real quick. The National Sexuality Education Standards Core Content and Skills were first published in 2012. The development of these standards and this update has been the result of an ongoing initiative, the Future of Sex Education. So for the first edition of these standards, 40 individuals from the fields of health education, sex education, public health, public policy, philanthropy, and advocacy convened for a 2-day meeting in December 2008 to create a strategic plan for sex education policy and implementation. A key strategic priority that emerged from this work was the creation of national sex education standards to advance the implementation of sex education in the United States public schools.
Now, can I just say one thing about what sex education will do? It will cut down on sexually transmitted diseases. It will cut down on unwanted pregnancies. It will cut down on, look at kids as young as 13 are experiencing sex today. Okay. And of course, it's not like you're sitting in a classroom and the first thing the teacher does is pull out a condom and say, when you go to have sex in the back of your car, make sure you put one of these on. The first line of defense is always abstain. Always. It has always been that way. I've asked my children that. They've been through this. Okay? It's patently ridiculous to think that to keep your child in the dark ages is going to prevent them from experiencing life. Okay? It isn't that way.
Well, not only, and it will hopefully potentially prevent abuses of kids, right, and possibly prevent future, abuses of kids when somebody already has been abused and they can identify somebody,
right?
Or they can say, hey, he or she touched me here, there, whatever.
Right.
The genitals, the penis, the breast, whatever it is. These are practical things. And on top of that, yes, you do have different types of families. And maybe a kid is going to be adopted into a gay family, and make them comfortable with that. Help them adjust to that. Okay. Here's, let's see. Here is the definition of child grooming. Child grooming is befriending and establishing an emotional connection with a child, sometimes a family, to lower the child's inhibition with the objective of sexual abuse. And someone in the group actually mentioned incels as well. Sexual abuse can be grooming them to be an incel or to not be able to have sex. Child grooming is also regularly used to lure minors into various illicit businesses such as child trafficking, child prostitution, cyber sex trafficking, or the production of child pornography. So that is grooming.
Right.
Okay, so that's specifically for that. Just so you know, I put this in here too. I forgot about this. This is the K-12 Florida standards. Part of what the bill, the Don't Say Gay bill states is that you can't mention gender or gender identity without tying it to a Florida state standard. Very good teachers will be able to do that, by the way. Now, I don't know how they're going to twist that and keep teachers from doing that or bully them into not doing that, but just wanted to put that out there. So this is a parental rights constitutional amendment.
Oh, God. I got a headache.
So here we go. This is the current language of this proposed.
I got a fucking headache.
You need to know the liberty of parents to direct the upbringing, education, and care of their children is a fundamental right. Section 2, the parental right to direct education includes the right to choose as an alternative to public education, private, religious, or homeschool, and the right to make reasonable choices within public schools for one child. By the way, you have that now. So what the hell do you need an amendment for?
You have it now. You don't need an amendment to the Constitution to do that. You don't. My kid went to charter school for a year, okay? Then came back to the public school system because hated charter school, okay?
Right. By the way, homeschooling, you don't just sit your kid down and teach them whatever you want to teach them. There is a curriculum that you have to follow.
Yep.
Just so you know.
There are standards that have to be met.
Yep. So Section 3, neither the United States nor any state shall infringe these rights without demonstrating that its governmental interest as applied to the person is of the highest order and not otherwise served. Vaccines and masking, public health.
Exactly.
So again, all right. The Section 4, the parental rights guaranteed by this article shall not be denied or abridged on account of disability. Okay. Section 5, the article shall not be construed to apply to a parental action or a decision that would end life. How about harm life? How about be harmful to life as well? You know, like a father or whatever is being abusive to the kid, and they have to protect that kid.
Is this an amendment to the state constitution?
Constitution, federal constitution.
No, fuck it. No way. No way. We don't need an amendment to the Constitution for this. We don't. You want to stick that in your fucking state constitution? You go ahead and do that.
So, all right. The hell did I do? So we have, Deb will talk about indoctrination in a minute. Okay. Remember the Hitler Youth? Indoctrination is putting in basically hateful ideas to a kid. You know, and just pounding these ideas into a kid, such as, you know, racism through Gab.
Yep. So when you go on some of these, you know, again, you know, let's look at Gab, when we talk about, free speech, same thing with BitChute. You talk about free speech because, everybody wants free speech, but nobody wants the responsibility that goes with it. In a lot of people's minds, free speech is just say whatever you want, whenever you want, regardless of, who it may hurt or what the effect may be. That's not free speech, okay? But you go on Gab now and you look at kids who are clearly in their early teens, with fucking profiles that say, I hate niggers. Where do you think they're getting that? They're being indoctrinated, all right? All of these right-wing incels and white supremacists are now streaming from gaming venues like Twitch and a bunch of other venues. They're out there because most people aren't going to block them there. Most people aren't expecting that to happen there. And by the way, they have access to young minds there. And that's exactly what this is all fucking about. They are indoctrinating kids to pick up their mantra and carry it forward. So,
all right, there's a couple things I wanna mention. Hold on one second. Let me put this back in. Yeah, a couple things I want to mention real quick. Number one, all this stuff about education, and when government gets involved in education and education starts to break down, you start really seeing it. Yep. Hold on. So we have Marsha Blackburn wanting to build a wall around Tennessee to keep the immigrants out. Okay. And then we have, oh my God. And then we have Kay Ivey. Same thing. Okay. Americans will be forced to learn Spanish if President Biden keeps shipping illegal immigrants into the country. We're going to all have to learn Spanish. My message to Biden, no way, Jose.
That's her idea of Spanish, by the way, Jose. Look at her. Jesus H. Christ. She looks like
Let me just show you a map.
She looks like she's
map of the United States real quick.
Yeah, can we take a look at this here? I'd like you to take a look at the two states, okay? So there's Tennessee. So I guess she's trying to keep out the immigrants from Arkansas, Alabama, Mississippi, and Georgia, maybe South Carolina too, and a little bit of North Carolina. And then I guess over there in good old Alabama, she's worried that the Mexicans are going to take a boat, go across the Gulf of Mexico and go in that little hole right there, instead of just going right over the fucking border into Texas. I can't even, it's just amazing to me that I can't even. I mean, I'm pretty sure that I told you in one of my videos earlier in the week, I said that geography was my favorite class. These people probably failed geography. That would be my guess.
Right. So one last thing, just as a little bit of comic relief. This is Anita Bryant
getting what she so richly deserves. Wait for it.
Oh, it's coming. There we go. She says at least it was a fruit pie.
And of course, that was a disparaging remark about gay people, just so you know, because that's what they used to call them, fruits. That's what they used to call us. They're fruits. She couldn't even be fucking nice when she was getting her comeuppance.
Well, at least her husband asked her to pray afterwards.
Yeah. Go ahead and pray, Anita. All right. So, shall we take a trip through this?
Yeah, sure.
Real quick. I won't keep you long here. Because I got at least another week's worth of work. I've just decided I don't want to rush this out. And, it was Easter week. I find that my best days are actually Sunday and Monday because I don't have to work those days. The rest of the week I work 30 hours. So, by the time I get to nighttime, I'm really fucking tired. And it takes a lot. I mean, I work at least 5 hours a night on this. So nothing's changed here. This is the home page. Everything has pretty much been standard since the first time I showed you that. Same thing with about. So I won't go too much of that. Danger zone. I might have shown you this. I think I showed you Misinformation Nation. And
yeah, you did.
I showed you this last week.
Yeah.
I'll just do it real quick. This is the stuff about, misinformation. I did change up a few things here. So all of this ideologies thing is all kind of new. And basically what I've done is put them all here pretty much in a nutshell. Right versus left, know the difference. And then I go through the ideologies here. Some of these are also in the glossary, but they're presented here in a little bit of a different light because they have links and all kinds of stuff here. They're expanded here. We talk about Christian nationalism. We talk more about incels. We're actually going to talk about male supremacy much more, and white nationalist and Christian nationalist.
Right.
Even further on into this website. We get into the fascist agenda. I haven't done anything here yet. This is why I want another week. I want to at least get this stuff filled in.
Right.
The players. We did the Donald Trump. I showed you that. We did get on some of the activist groups now. So we've got America First completely done. We got this entire thing done, replete with, videos that you can, play of Nick Fuentes and his most charming self. So I have America First. I have the Oath Keepers done as well.
Are you going to put Alec in there at some point?
I am. They'll be under political, whatever it is that I call it. I haven't decided yet. So
I don't know. They're not really a pack, but yeah.
I haven't done the Proud Boys. I have to do the Proud Boys, the Constitutional Sheriffs, and the Patriot Front. But I did get a significant portion of the media done. Fox is completely done. We got all kinds of good stuff here. There's a lot of, papers and research here that people can access. We talk about, the most virulent of the entities on Fox.
Wow, this is great, Deb.
And then I also finished, I'm close to finishing. I almost finished this today before I went out to Easter dinner, but I didn't. But it'll be done tonight. I got Project Veritas pretty much done. Talk about James O'Keefe.
I know we've done these guys before, but yeah.
Trying to overturn the election. Those are things that, those are things that people don't talk about. They mostly talk about, some of the other bad shit he's done. But, he spends a significant amount of time on that. And basically, he's not a journalist. He's a dirty trickster. That's all he is.
Yeah, he's a troll.
Yeah.
He's a troll.
These are like Diamond Dog. I didn't cover that at the top where I talked about the election. Diamond Dog came about when the pandemic hit, because then they went to, mail-in balloting. So Diamond Dog was a specific program to go after the mail-in balloting. And I actually subscribed today to the National Review because it's $10 a year. And they have a great report on the Diamond Dog stuff that he did. So
was that the thing that Judd Legum, was that the one that Judd Legum really skewered him for?
I think so.
I think it was.
But, then we're going to have, well, I haven't got it here yet. I have to do Acorn tonight and the infiltration of the progressive groups. So once I get that in there, that will be done. And then I'm going to move on to, let's see what I got on my list of.
It looks good so far.
I got.
So Deb,
looks very good.
Just so you know,
I want to put in the news media. I want to put in OAN, Newsmax, the Daily Wire. But then, there's this outlaying group called influencers. And I want to make sure I put that term in there because that's a popular term on social media.
Right.
I see people like Candace Owens as an influencer. I see people like Jack Posobiec as an influencer. And I see Christopher Rufo as an influencer because that's exactly what he's doing.
Yep. Yeah. Also, you got Joe Rogan, you got Russell Brand, those guys. What I will say is
I got Mark Levin too, but he's going to be right. He's going to be on there too.
If you need the resources, I know for Veritas, and you guys who want to watch them, I did a Halloween episode for him, and I think I did one after that too.
Yep.
We did it. So if you need the resources or you need the links, they're all there.
Yeah.
So you don't have to look for them.
Right.
But this guy is a street entertainer. He literally dressed up as a gigolo. Okay, and fucking, or not a gigolo, I'm sorry, a pimp. He literally dressed up as a pimp. Okay, and went on, I believe it was Fox News. He had the only reason he had some backing. He had Breitbart as a backer. That's the only reason he really got any publicity in the beginning. So he's a huckster, as Deb said. He's P.T. Barnum.
He is. This guy.
He's an entertainer.
When they wanted to go after the mail-in ballots, though, literally the high rollers in the Republican Party basically donated $13.44 million for that. I mean, these guys are not. You're not a journalist when you are taking money from political campaigns. It just does not work that way. But he's got people convinced he's a journalist because people don't even understand what journalism is anymore. Okay?
Well,
they don't.
Deb, honestly, I wouldn't even call him, I don't know if I'd put him in there. He would, even though he is full of crap, James O'Keefe is an influencer.
Yeah, he is.
He's not really, as you said, he's not really, and by the way, what's the name of the guy, the Constitutional Convention guy? He's another influencer. I got to get his name for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're at something like 19 states right now.
The only reason I put Veritas in the media is because he's got a media company and he's huge. Okay.
Yeah.
He's huge. Yeah. He's not just out there, on YouTube with one channel. He's big. He's got a lot of money behind him.
Well, the Gateway Pundit, that's another one.
Yep.
That's another one.
Influencer.
Yeah. Yep.
So that's where we are right now. Let me just see what else I got. I am going to, I already did that. I did the pipeline. I haven't gotten past Arizona yet. I did Arizona. You guys saw that.
Yeah, I tend to get stopped at Arizona too.
I am going to do Florida and Texas next, though. I did that. Those are the rights, the vision part. There's the glossary, and then there's the contact. In between the vision and the glossary, I'm adding a whole new section called resources, and that's going to be just links.
Is that mostly documents and stuff, or is that just links to websites?
But it might be a link to like the Human Rights
website,
or
gotcha.
Whatever. It's going to be. It'll be both, because as I'm working on Ice Drive as well, uploading all of these documents that can now be downloaded from there.
Right.
So there'll be a link to Ice Drive in there too. So,
when you do something like, let's say you're doing Florida next, would you put Anita Bryant in there, even though she's historical, or you just you're not just doing stuff? I mean, she is so. I didn't realize how integral she was to Florida politics.
Well, yeah, I mean, I am going to put that in there because they're going right back to that playbook, and people need to see.
Yeah, they are. They are.
So, yep. So that's where I am, and I did want to put it up, but I felt like I need another week. I just do.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take that and do it right, and then we'll discuss the schedule for when it will be down for updating. Is it going to be every week, or is it going to be every 2 weeks? I think it's going to depend on how fast things are changing, because the one thing that's really got to be filled in here, aside from the pipeline part here, there's several states that are problematic states, like Arizona, where they're all fucking crazy. Right. And Florida's pretty fucking crazy. And I think Tennessee's pretty freaking nutty. And
Pennsylvania's another one.
But then there's this whole amorphous area. There's almost like at least one or two nutty candidates in every state of the union. So then there's going to be this whole area where it's not state by state, but, maybe it's region by region. I haven't figured that out yet.
Right. Well, Alaska, I mean, you got Sarah Palin in Alaska. That's the big one there.
I got Jeff Deal in Massachusetts. I got actually a couple of crazies in Massachusetts, as I've discovered. But I don't consider it a problematic state yet.
Right.
There's some crazy people in Maine. There's some crazy people everywhere. In every state, there's at least one or two extremists in every state somehow.
California, people don't think of California as a problem state. You've got some crazies in California, and New York. Yep. New York, upstate New York is bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not just Long Island and the city.
Right.
So
that's where we are. We're cooking. We're getting there. But
why are you making me look at him?
It's the fucking writing and going back and editing all of it and just making sure it's consistent, one page to another. Nothing worse than disjointed writing. I know people don't want to look at that, so I have to do it the right way, because this is going to have to live for a long time. So that's where we're at. Now I will stop sharing. And now I will stop recording. Have a lovely evening, children, but I will stay there because I'm just going to stop the recording.